I was like, I want to go up it and find a way down the other side, just bushwhacking, whatever, to get to over to Missouri. And that's
Missouri,
why,
the mountain.
yeah, which is the second 14er that I did that day.
Yeah.
So I get to the top and I look at this edge and it's just like a knife's edge, like all along. And I'm like, I think over there I might be able to get down. Like I just pointed at it from the top. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll just head that way and hopefully I can find it. Because you can kind of stay on the top, like float on the top.
Yeah.
So I was just floating on the top. And then pretty much it was just rock climbing down down here on. Excuse me.
The whole time rock climbing down?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's probably the craziest mountain I've ever gone down. Like it wasn't straight like hard, but it's like, yeah, if I slip or fall off, then it's definitely not gonna end well. So I was just like climbing down it, and then I was trying to find the best path. Like it would flatten out a little bit, and then it would go down steep again. I'm sure if anybody goes to Huron, they'll be like, "You climbed on that side of it," and I'll be like, "Yeah." So I got all the way down to the bottom, which was like at 9,000 feet. Right. So I have to go back up to Missouri, which this is the backside of Missouri. And most people don't take this trail either. But
does Missouri have a trail?
Yeah, there was a trail. It wasn't very well like traveled. So I'm at 9,000 feet. I have to go back up to over 14 because they're over 14.
Yeah.
So I go up to Missouri, and my plan was actually to do Belford and Oxford. So I was trying to hit 4 in one day. And so I come back around Missouri to go over to Belford. I have to go back down again a third time. And I think I went only down to like 10 or maybe 11,000 feet. And then I start climbing. And the reason why I'm saying the story is because I actually got elevation sickness on the third one. And it was pretty crazy because, I don't know, they kind of tell you what elevation sickness feels like, but like not until you experience it, you're like, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And it got to some point, it was like 13,000 feet or something like that. And I just felt really tired, out of breath. And I would stop. I stopped, took a break. And then I did like 50 feet more and I was tired, dead tired again. And then I kept on going. It was like 25 feet and I would take a break. Like I'm saying a minute, 2 minutes.
Did you think that you were dying at any
No,
point?
no. It was just like, this is frustrating because I'm like, I know my body can do more.
Yeah.
But it's just like I have to stop because I'm just like so like out of breath.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was doing like 10 to 5 feet up and just stopping again. But I made it up Belford.
Was Belford the one that you got the motion sickness?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like on the way up, I was getting.
How long did it take you
air.
to get up with your condition?
Yeah, so I was planning on getting up there at like 5, and I think it took like an extra hour or so. Maybe like a half hour to an hour of extra time.
And how long was each rest?
Only like a minute to like 5 minutes, maybe.
Still kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Adds up.
Yeah. So then I got to the top and I knew I wasn't going to be able to go over to Oxford, which is like, it's only half a mile away, but you have to go down like 500 feet and then back up 500 feet to make it like it's a separate mountain. That's also why they like, they could count it as one mountain if it's too high of elevation in between the ridges.
Right.
So at that point I was like, yeah, I got to go down. So then I went back down and my lungs slowly improved. I would say when I got down to like 12,000 feet, I was fine. But I'm also going downhill, which is a lot easier. But
yeah, I think going downhill on mountains is harder, but
well, I mean, easier like
on your body,
on my
like
body,
lungs.
I guess, yeah. In your legs, you can go downhill a lot faster than uphill. So,
and I'm assuming you're the only one doing these by yourself.
Yeah.
You're not coming across anybody.
Yeah.
So, like, what's going on in your mind? Is there any part of you that's a little scared that something could go wrong out there, especially with the sickness and the rock climbing part? What if you would have gotten stuck?
Yeah, it was pretty dangerous.
It-
I don't really think about in the moment. I guess I just don't think about it. Like I
Yeah.
just want to go experience it, and I don't really like think about like that risk. Like it's in the back of my head. Um, you know Alex Harndale?
Yes.
Harndale?
Of
I don't
course.
remember.
Yeah,
But
the free climber.
yeah,
Yeah.
he has a quote that's like, yeah, some people just don't experience that fear of death, and it's like it's kind of sad. He's like, it's a thrill, but I think he also has that fear mindset, and I wouldn't be surprised if I have this too, where it's just like you have to feel extreme fear to actually feel fear. You know what I mean? Like not every day, you know, every doing like normal things is just not scary. Like you
Yeah.
have to go out and get that thrill. Like
It's a thrill seeker.
and a lot of climbers don't feel really even fear when they're climbing either. Like they're at a point where they're just at a bliss.
Yeah, and it's just something that they love doing, so they're
Yeah.
not really thinking about, oh, if I fail.
Yeah.
They're only thinking, I love doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I like climbing and hiking so much, because I don't like really think about that. It's just like I go and experience it,
Yeah.
and it's fun to me. So
So you're on the way down from, it was Missouri, the one that you got sickness?
no, it was after Missouri to Belford. So I came
Belford, and
around.
then on your way down from Belford to Oxford, you start feeling better.
No, I wasn't gonna. I couldn't go to Oxford at all
So
because
you never made it?
no, yeah. So I didn't do the 4. I only did 3 that day, which
Okay.
is still a crazy achievement. If you told anybody, yeah, I know a guy that did 3 14ers in a day, they would be like, "What?" Um, but yeah. So I came down Belford just on the other side of it and just camped. I think I was still at like 10,000 feet when I camped. So, in anything really over 8, you could get elevation sickness.
If you're sleeping?
No, just in
Just in
general,
general.
anything over 8. When I I did Grays, which is the only one on the CDT that you go up. Hold on, okay. It passed.
Yay.
I went up Grays, and then as I was coming down, it was pretty late, and I came down and I camped like right at 12,000 feet. I was like, whoever camps at this high of height, like 12,000 feet? Nobody. And I just did it and it was fine. But yeah, but I was way used to it by then.
Yeah, and you said that's on the Grays, did you call it?
Yeah, it's called Gray's Peak.
Gray's Peak.
Gray's and Torrey's is right next to each other. And Gray's is on the trail, and then Torrey's is like half mile off. So I put my pack down, went over and did Torrey's, and then came back and got my pack, and kept on going.
And you just remembered where your pack was? Was it
Yeah.
was there a trail?
Yeah. It was just off the trail. It was at the top of Gray's peak. I actually did that a lot. So for Albert and Massive, I did the same thing. I just slack packed it. That's what they call it. You probably don't know that term, do you?
No.
So slack packing is like, some people do it like from town to town. Like you can give somebody your pack and they'll like, so then you just take a day pack and you go from town to town if it's close enough. Like typically it's a day hike. It's like a day hike.
Yeah.
So like usually it's less than 25 miles, but I did it where I would put my pack down and then like take my water and my whatever, a candy bar, and then went up Albert, which is the highest in Colorado, and the second highest in the lower 48, 48.
What's the most high?
Whitney, which I did on the PCT.
Okay, so that one's out in Oregon? Washington?
No, California.
California?
Yep. So I went and did Albert, and then I came down, grabbed my pack, Alberta and Massive are separated by like 7 miles, like the base of them are.
Yeah.
So I did like the 7 miles, got to Massive, and put my pack down and did that one too. So I did the two highest in Colorado, but they're the second and the third highest in the lower 48.
Yeah.
So in the same day.
In
And
the same day.
yeah,
And you're still
it's
allowed to
pretty
talk
cool.
about it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you add all that up, it's like 8,000 feet of elevation gain in a single day.
Jeez, so your body is just adapting and changing so
It's
much.
fired on all 7 cylinders, dude.
Yeah, all 7 cylinders.
8.
No, you only have 7.
You only have 7 now, sir.
You need to gain more muscle to get the 8th. And then what's after Grays? Is there just still more mountains? They're just shorter?
Right, yeah. Like after you do that one, I think there's like one more 13er right after it, but then it kind of goes pretty low after that.
Oh, I thought you had to look something up on your phone.
No, I was just trying to get this relaxed. Oh, I did La
gotcha.
Plata after I did. So I did those one day, and then the next day I did La Plata, which is another 14er. That one's pretty cool.
What makes that one pretty cool?
It's more standalone. Like Huron is like there's a lot of mountains around it, where La Plata is like a little bit farther out, and there's not as many mountains around it. There's a lot of ridgeline, but not like I don't know.
So
it's
it's
just
one
really,
of those ones that you go up and you can like see a bunch of.
you can see pretty far on that one compared to Huron and the other two.
Were any of them snow capped at the time?
Missouri wasn't, Belford wasn't, but Huron and La Plata was, and then Albert and Massive both had snow on them too. So 4 out of the 9 that I went on, yeah.
And what happens after these big mountains? What's the trail like then? Or is Colorado just all mountain?
Yeah, Colorado is mostly mountain. I mean, and then you have like the winds coming up, like way north of that. You have why am I thinking? Yeah, Utah, right?
Is Utah
Why am I
by
thinking
4?
Utah?
Wasn't it New Mexico, Colorado,
Yeah. New Mexico, Colorado,
Wyoming? Was it next?
Wyoming. Yeah, and then Utah, and then Montana.
Well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Utah's kind of next to Colorado, isn't it?
I don't.
Are you talking about Idaho?
Oh yeah, Idaho. Why am I thinking Utah?
They kind of sound similar in some ways, but it's because
I'm just
Colorado,
dumb.
Arizona. I think Colorado, Arizona,
Yeah.
Utah, and another one.
Oh,
are
I
just
went
these-
Utah. I went to Utah with my parents today. That's why I'm thinking of it.
when they came and visited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was cool. Went to Arizona too.
There's 3 people that I know that have gone to Utah so far.
Oh, maybe it's because Josh and freaking Kale were Alec
Alec.
were talking about it.
Yeah, Utah's been on the mind.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, where were we?
We were talking about Colorado, but what compels you? And other than like the thrill-seeking part, is there anything else that makes you want to go on these trails and just leave everything behind for a while? and go
Oh
do
yeah.
this?
I feel like I said this last time, but that's okay.
What do you mean last time?
When we talked about the AT.
Oh, so like last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people can hear it again.
I think just being really away from society. One, you're away from your phone, like you don't have internet easily accessible. You're away from work, like you don't have work stress, you don't have car stress, you don't have house stress,
Yeah.
and all of that. You don't have money stress. If you save up and do it right, you don't have money stress.
Yeah.
Some people do, still out there.
Right.
if you're going in debt because of trails.
Is there times when you're just out there and you have no idea what's going on in the world because you can't update your phone?
Sometimes, but a lot of the stuff we find out pretty quickly, like Trump getting shot at, I knew like the day after.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I would have thought
So,
that would have been like you're just wandering about on the trail and then all of a sudden, months later, you're like, hey, that's crazy. That happened.
yeah, no, I mean, we're in towns like 3 or 4 days, and sometimes we even there wasn't too bad of lack of connection. Like, usually I would have it on airplane mode because it kills your phone
Yeah, because it's
to search.
constantly searching for satellite.
So, like, maybe once a day, I would check it and see if I have anything, but other than that, I wouldn't check it. And I just don't care about like news that much.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, the whole point of being out there is to kind of
forget about it.
and
Forget about it.
be out in nature. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you gonna write a book?
I've thought about it. I thought about writing about like all three because I think it's hard to write a book on like just one and then the other, then the other. And it's hard to be like, and today I went walking. Like, you have to like do individual stories like, that one that I just told about the three mountains, maybe more in depth than what I just said, but
Yeah, because when you're writing, it's a lot easier
slower.
To,
Yeah.
Slower and easier to go into detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta love my Red Bull.
Got Red Bull down. I think one of the craziest stories was on the CDT was the rain in Colorado. They got really bad rainstorms. Is it early June? Yeah, I think early June.
Is that the natural process, or was this a thing that was happening this year?
Yeah, like this year they got it early.
Gotcha.
They got it early June. They usually get it late June, and so they had flooding there, but that's kind of beside the point. It was raining one day when I was walking. Well, I should back up. So I was walking through a bunch of mountains, and it's like 4, 3, 4, and usually it rains like at 5, and usually it only rains for like maybe an hour. But this day was different. So it starts raining like at 4, like just like light rain.
Yeah.
And then it just starts calming down like around 5, and I'm like, dang, it's really coming down. And it's like 60, it's not like cold, but
Right.
it's not warm for July, right? And or June, sorry, early June. And so I'm just walking and it's just coming down. And for hours it was just coming down. Usually it just, like I said, just passes through. So I'm like, man, I gotta find some place. And I like look on my phone. I'm like, okay, it says there's a cabin like right here. And it was like 25 miles in, which is quite a bit in Colorado. And
Because
so,
of the mountains.
yeah,
Yeah.
doing 25. If you told people you did 25 through Colorado, that's kind of crazy. But I did that like every day, and usually by 5 or 6 o'clock. But I get close to this cabin around 7. And I just get in there and I'm just like drenched. I'm like cold. And I think I was like borderline hyperthermic because I'm like starting to shake, like,
Yeah.
like from being so cold. And my rain jacket, which I think it's a really good rain jacket, and it got soaked through. So I had a long sleeve, but it was all wet, like all down my sleeve.
Aren't rain
And
jackets supposed to be completely waterproof?
they're supposed to be, but that one went through. Like, you're supposed to put lacquer on them too, and I hadn't put lacquer on them in a while, on mine.
Tisk tisk.
I had rain pants. This is why I always hike with rain pants too. It's because that saved my pants like a lot.
Yeah.
I think it only got like wet, like kind of down by like my ankles because that's where you're walking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had to like take everything off and switch to my second pair of clothing. So
your
have to.
backpack has some type of rain protection on then.
Yeah, my backpack. It had a Sea to Summit like rainproof, like really heavy bag inside of it. Some people do the outside, but I'm like, Yeah, but if it rains as hard as it did that day, it would have gone through the outside bag too.
Yeah.
And then all of your stuff is just done. Like, how are you going to sleep in a wet sleeping bag? So instead, I do the inside and just have a liner on the inside. And so yeah, all my stuff was dry. I have like a sleeping pair of like clothes. So I just put those on, and then I had my puffy on, and I warmed up after a while. But that cabin really saved my butt, because if I was gonna try to set up a camp in that, like, no way,
In the rainstorm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really
Was
bad.
there anyone else in the cabin?
No, except for a very greedy rat.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Did you roast it?
No, I wanted to kill it, but it was running all over the place. So,
Did you
and
stay
I
there?
had no way to kill it anyways.
You could like slap your back.
Yeah. It's old miner cabins. So there's a lot of abandoned cabins in Colorado in general that still have good roofs on them. Some of them aren't good anymore, but this in particular one had a metal roof on it, so it was really good.
You stayed
dry.
there with a rat?
Yeah,
I'd be freaked out to sleep there.
that happens all the time. On the AT, there's more mice on the AT than anything, but
But you said he was greedy. What made him greedy?
he was really fat. That's why I said he was greedy. But you have to hang your pack up like on a hook, and usually rats can't get to it. Or I think this one had like a metal wire that hangs down, and they can't get to it because I think they can't like go on the wire itself. Like they can't, and they don't want to jump onto your pack, right? Because they don't fly that well. I mean, if they miss, they could die, right?
Right.
So,
But I
yeah.
would just not like sleeping on the ground with it wandering about. I feel like that'd freak me out a little bit.
Yeah, I had my flashlight on him at one time. He was only like 2 feet away. I'm like, I just want to strangle you.
I bet you could have easily killed it if you wanted to. Smack your flashlight on it. Oh, that's kind of violent.
I didn't have a big flashlight.
Oh.
I had like a small little lantern one.
You're telling me
maybe
you probably don't bring a knife too because it's too heavy.
No, I had a knife, but it wasn't that. It's gonna run away once you like make a move, you know.
It's true.
Maybe my pole. Maybe I could have gotten him with my pole, but my hiking poles.
Yeah.
But I think they were down. Like, so I was in a loft area, and then all of my other stuff was down low, like on the ground. So.
And he was just up there with you.
Yeah, we were chilling. Yeah.
Okay, so there's the rainstorm.
Rainstorm in 99.
And then
I'm just
the rainstorm in 99. And then so the next day, is it not raining or is it still raining bad?
The next morning it was still raining. I think it cleared up about halfway through the day, which usually it does. It's weird.
And how do you dry your clothes?
You just leave them on. And I put my rain gear back on. You kind of just start cold.
I would imagine the chafing is real.
I would say I always get dry chafing, not from rain, not from like water.
Really?
I always get it I got it in the California desert. And then I also got it in New Mexico when I was there.
I wonder if it's because the air is so dry and your skin gets really dry.
Yeah. It's
That's what I would think.
usually my butt. It's very uncomfortable.
I can imagine. That does not sound fun for anybody.
Yeah. I don't know. Why is my phone going off?
But you can flip it over.
Yeah. I'm going to do that.
Wow, that was cool. It made a cool sound.
Wow. But
And so did you hike in the rain the next day in your wet rain gear and
yeah, and then it dried out midday or whatever.
because the sun comes
The
out?
sun comes out. Yeah, that's one
funny
great
because
thing.
the Colorado is known as the Sunshine State.
Yeah, I mean, everything dries out though, because it's dry in Colorado.
Yeah.
So it all dries.
Wow.
It dries out really quickly. They're probably slamming the door because we're talking so loud.
You think we're talking loud?
I don't know.